Hello everyone. Today I'm going to discuss about the headache. So this is also one of the clinical sign of and symptoms during the diagnostic procedure. So in this topic today we are going to discuss about the what is headache, what are the causative factors for a headache, and also what are the other associated factors with a headache we are going to see here. So this is also important signs and symptoms during the diagnosis of the conditions. So that is the reasons we have to know and learn in detailed manner. So many different types of the headaches we can commonly see in patients. So that's why we have to differentially diagnose and we have to analyze clearly. Then easily we can conclude the condition and diagnose easily. So according to diagnose, the treatment will be easier and also it will be is accurate. So if you see that the definition of the headaches, headache is the pain in any region of the head. So headache may be occur on the one side or both sides, is either right side or left side or maybe the back half of the head. So anywhere in the head, so it is called as the headache. So it is isolated be to certain locations, radiate across the head from the one point to have a the voice-like quality. So that means going to be depends on the involvement of the structure. So the headache will be vary. So sometimes it's going to be made chance to get the half of the off side, maybe right side or maybe left side. Maybe is the back in the occipital region. So maybe in the one in the frontal region. So we are going to experience the different places according to the involvement. And also headache may appear as a sharp pain or throbbing sensation or a dull ache. So it will be sharp or else maybe is the throbbing sensation or dull ache. So it's going to be different headaches we are going to see. So some people may experience with the headache will be the sharp pain or maybe throbbing or maybe like a burning type of pain. Different type of the headaches is going to give the different feeling sensation. So we are going to discuss one by one here. So what are the causative factors for headache? So if you see the headache is the common signs and symptom you can see in so many different conditions. So these are the so many reasons are there. Here I mentioned here only important things here. If you see here, the first causative factor is intracranial hemorrhage. If any bleeding inside the brain because of the any abnormal like a dilatation of the blood vessel burst, that is called as the aneurysm, any aneurysm, any intracranial like a bleed. So it may also give the severe headache in the brain. And also another one is the subarachnoid hemorrhage. So in the subarachnoid hemorrhage, if you see the dura mater, the brain is have covering layer with the dura and also pyometer and arachnoid matter. So below the arachnoid matter, so if any bleed inside, so may chance to get the headache. So that is subarachnoid matter. So that is the space between the arachnoid matter and also pia matter. So we will get the bleed and may chance to get the severe headache. Coming to the cerebral venous thrombosis. So in the brain, the cerebral means in the brain, any vein thrombosis, any blood clot, or any like a formation of the blood into clot formations. So it may give the severe headache. So that is because of the cerebral venous thrombosis. So and also the vertebrobasilar dissections. So during the any compression to the vertebral artery or in the basilar artery or during the surgical procedures, so it may chance to get the headache in the because of the vertebrobasilar dissections. And one more thing is in meningitis, inflammation of the meninges. The meninges is consist of three layers, which are the covering layers of the brain and spinal cord. So that is the dura mater, pia mater, arachnoid matter. So if any inflammation and if any infection to the meninges, so it may chance to get the inflammation. It may give a swelling in the meninges. So because of the swelling, the pressure is going to be increased. Intracranial pressure is going to be increased. It may give the headache. Also encephalitis. So nothing but is an infection of the brain. So it's a bacterial infection of the brain also may give the swelling of the brain. So it leads to the headache. The migraine. So migraines, so many reasons are there for migraines. So one of the cost factor for the migraine is because of the stress or lack of proper sleep, or maybe if in case of any allergic to any particular food also may chance to give the headache. So this also one of the one of the type of the headache for the migraine. And also tension headache. So in case of any anxiety or depression, if it is not in the if they are not like a stress, so they may chance to get the headache. So we are going to discuss all these things is one by one how the headache is going to be happening. And also cluster headache. So it's going to be like the pressure is going to be increased. So all the because of the so many reasons. So we are also this also one type, and also temporal arteritis. That is genital arteritis, inflammation of the arteries. Acute glaucoma is because of the any eye pressure or eye symptoms is acute condition, and also raised intracranial pressure. So is there any tumor formation? If any space occupying lesions inside the brain, the pressure is going to be increased because of the CSF accumulation or if any tumor formation. So may chance to get the increasing the pressure, it leads to the severe headache. Sinusitis, inflammation of the sinus. So if any sinus, the maxillary sinus, frontal sinus, and ethmoidal sinus, any sinus also, that is nothing but inflammation. Because of the infection, it may lead to the inflammation. So because of the swelling also, may chance to get the severe headache. And also analgesic headache. So some types of the analgesics, such as some opioid or maybe analgesic drugs, are may chance to give the headaches. And also in other causative factor is a hypertensive crisis. In a hypertensive crisis means you already having like a severe hypertension, if uncontrolled hypertension. So in those conditions, they may chance to get the headache. And also other causative factor is a headache is the intracranial hypotension. So in case of any decrease the blood circulations or sorry, decrease the blood pressure. So because of the intracranial causative factors also may use the headache. And in case of the trauma, if any injury to the head also may chance to get the headache. And coming to the another causative factor is trigeminal neuralgia. So trigeminal neuralgia, the trigeminal nerve, so which is like a fifth cranial nerve. So if any infection and also inflammation to the trigeminal nerve, so may chance to give the severe headache to one side, and also the face also going to be affected, is going to give the pain, and the pain may radiate to the head. So that also one of the causative factors. And also next one is the exertional headache. So in case of like a severe exertional activities also may gives the headache. And also next one is the drugs induced headaches. So some of the drugs may increasing the alter the blood pressure, and also it sometimes it may increasing the pressure, so it may leads to the headache. So these are the so many causative factors for the headache. So these are the some of the important causative factors for headache. And also other causative factors, so many other causative factors also there. And this one is, if you see, the first one is the 1 to 6, and also 10 and 11, the 12 and 15. So this is marked in the red color. So these are the, if anybody get these complications, so the treatment will be is urgent, sir, is emergency treatment. So they need emergency treatment, otherwise they may chance to get the other severe complications. So we are going to discuss about the different type of the causative factors for the headache. The first one is intracranial hemorrhage. So this intracranial hemorrhage, so inside the brain, if any bleeding, so for example, any bleeding inside the brain, so it is called as intracranial hemorrhage. So this is going to be the subdural hemorrhage or hematoma, and also epidural hematoma or intracerebral. So inside the brain also going to be hematoma. So if you see here, epidural hematoma, epidural means below the dura mater. So the brain and spinal cord is covering layer is the first outermost covering layer is called as the dura mater. So below the dura, so is called as the epidura. So if any bleeding inside the epidural, so may chance to get the severe headache. And also in case of any intraventricular hemorrhage, in the any ventricular system got any hemorrhage, so may chance to get subdural hemorrhage. So below the dura, so may chance to get the hemorrhage. So these are the some different type of the hemorrhage because of the intracranial hemorrhage. So these intracerebral hemorrhage and also intraventricular hemorrhage. So if you see inside the intracranial, so they may chance to get the intraventricular region and also intracerebral region also. So these are going to be the two types of hemorrhage. So this intracerebral hemorrhage typically present with is abrupt onset, is associated with the nausea, vomiting, dizziness, and also ataxia. So if anybody get a severe headache associated with the nausea, that is a vomiting sensation, and also vomiting and dizziness and feeling of reeling sensation, and also ataxia, unable to stand properly, unable to walk properly, unsteady gait. So it is a causative factor of the is a cerebellar hemorrhage. So we can predict the causative factor may be related to the brain hemorrhage, or maybe associated with the Glasgow coma scales. So in case of like a loss of like a consciousness, some people may chance to get the stupor, or some people are going to be the delirium, and also it's not mean alter the consciousness. So in the finally, if they are not unable to respond to any stimulus, maybe they may chance to get the coma. So we have to think, and also we have to predict the causative factors for the headache. So this is also one example for the intracerebral hemorrhage. And next one is intraventricular intracerebral hemorrhage. So these are going to be the onset is the as usual. So it is going to be is happening inside the ventricular system. So these ventricles are is filled with the filled with the cerebrospinal fluid. So if any bleeding here, so it may obstruct the circulation, and also it may gives the severe like a headache. So it may chance to get the from the usually over minutes to hours. So this is going to be the pain is going to be sudden onset of the pain they may chance to get. And also they are also going to get the focal neurological deficiencies. What are the focal neurological deficiencies? Focal neurological deficiencies means they may lose the higher cerebral functions. Higher cerebral functions are they are going to lose the orientation and also communications and language, calculations. So these things are going to be happening, and also motor loss and sensory loss. So these functions are going to be unable to speak. So these functions, these are the neurological, that is focal neurological signs. So they may chance to get the loss of the focal neurological signs associated with the Glasgow Coma scale is going to be associated. That means they are going to alter the consciousness. So it's because of the intracranial hemorrhage. So next one is the subarachnoid hemorrhage. Subarachnoid hemorrhage. So that is in between the arachnoid matter and the pia mater. So pia mater is the innermost covering layer of the brain and spinal cord. So after the pia mater, arachnoid matter is there. So the space between the pia mater and also arachnoid matter, so is called as the subarachnoid space. So if any bleeding inside the subarachnoid space, so it is called as subarachnoid hemorrhage. So it's potentially devastating bleed. So into the subarachnoid space. So because of the any aneurysm means if the blood vessels damage, any abnormal dilatation of the blood vessels may chance to get the burst. So it may use the bleeding. And also this is also going to be rapid onset, less than 2 minutes, and severe, and also is going to be continuous the more than 2 hours. So the pain is going to start within the less than 2 minutes and continue until the more than 2 hours. So most commonly who are having subarachnoid hemorrhage, so may chance to get the pain in the occipital region. It hit around the back of the head. So it's going to around the back side here, they are going to get the symptoms. And also associated symptoms are, so most of the cerebral and also brain abnormalities along with the headache. So they may chance to get the vomiting sensation. That is the giddiness, also nausea, vomiting sensation, dizziness, and also seizures may chance to get. So that means they are going to get the reeling sensation, unable to stand and sit properly, unable to walk. And also seizures, they may chance to get the convulsions or fits. So these are the associated symptoms with the headache because of the subarachnoid hemorrhage. And also if you see the investigation procedures during the physical examination, may chance to get the neck stiffness and also drowsy, photophobia, so is scared to the like a light, and also focal neurological signs. So which are we discussed just now about the loss of motor function, sensory functions, and also loss of speech and loss of the intelligence, IQ levels. So this may chance to get in the neurological, focal neurological signs, and also may chance to get the alter the consciousness. So we can know with the Glasgow Coma scale. And also you who are having the subarachnoid hemorrhage, so first the diagnostics is supposed to be, so immediately have to do the CT scan. But CT may be normal in small bleed. The bleed is very small. So in the 20% cases, the CT scan shows it's a very normal, like a normal brain scan. That's the CT scan will be the normal. But if the CT is the normal, so then we go for the is a lumbar puncture. So lumbar puncture means we have to check if you do the lumbar puncture, can easily understand because of lumbar puncture commonly do in the L3, L4 level. So there we can found this lumbar spinal cord also covering is having this arachnoid space. So if any pressure is increased, if any abnormality, and also we are going to found in through the lumbar puncture. So these are going to be especially the xanthochromia, any disease related to these things, and also we can found is there any abnormal in the lumbar puncture. We can easily found out the hemorrhage is there or not in the subarachnoid space. Coming to the next one is cerebral venous thrombosis. Cerebral venous thrombosis is going to be, is thunderclaps and also thrombing and band-like the headaches. So they are going to be like a, how like a beating, like a thrombing, and also band-like appear, how they are going to feel the sensations. So they may chance to get because of the cerebral venous congestions. And also next one is going to get the, so in case of, so in this one, thrombosis, so it may associated with the nausea and vomiting, seizures, and cranial nerve palsies, and also hemiparesis, ataxia. So they may chance to get the nerve paralysis, especially may chance to get the cranial nerve involvement. So, and also hemiparesis, half of the bodies may chance to get the weakness because of the involvement of the cerebellum. For example, cerebral, for example, left cerebral hemisphere affected means, so they will going to get the right side of the hemiparesis. So these are the most common symptoms along with the cerebral venous thrombosis, and also ataxia, unsteady gait, and loss of consciousness, or maybe altered, maybe stupor, or maybe delirium, or maybe cloudy. So this type of symptoms we are going to found. So next one is the vertebrobasilar is the dissections. So in this going to be, the pain will be the acute onset. So especially is going to get the occipital and posterior neck region. And also who are having these vertebral basal dysfunctions or dissections, the brain symptoms are going to face. So the brain symptoms we are going to observe. So that means that they are going to get the alter the functions of the like cardiorespiratory functions as well as the respiratory functions, because of the cardiac center as well as respiratory centers are there in the brainstem. So it may alter the functions, and also it may alter the autonomic nervous system functions along with the headache. And also meningitis. So meningitis means the infection of the meninges. So, and also it may lead to the inflammation. Itis means the inflammations. So in those conditions, they are going to get the severe pain. Along with they are going to get the high fever, is a more than like a 38 degrees centigrade. So meningium means the signs we are going to observe who are having the headache with the meningium means stiff neck. So if you bend the neck is going to be severe, like a stiffness, unable to do the neck movement. And also the Brudzinski sign and also Kerning sign is going to be positive. That means the patient is supine lying positions. If you raise the extension of the knee, they are going to get the severe pain in the knee, below the knee, as well as the hamstring levels. So that is the Kerning sign. And also they may chance to get the like a opisthotonus sign. Opisthotonus means, so they are going to get the extensive hyperextension of the back. So those people are going to get the arch appearance. So they make a lower back arch. So because of the irritation of the meninges. And also headache develop over hours rather than the sudden. So it's going to take a longer time than the sudden in case of the meningitis. So the viral meningitis is self-limiting, and also bacterial meningitis is the life-threatening. So the viral is sometimes is going to be subside, and also is going to be self-limiting. But in case of the bacterial one, sometimes it may give the life-threatening symptoms. So may chance to get the GCS score, Glasgow Coma score, and also may chance to get the shock and purpuritic rashes. They're going to get the other abnormal rashes, and also the focal neurological signs are going to be, we can found in the case of the meningitis. So here we have to do the lumbar puncture, blood culture, and also throat swab is the diagnostic procedures. So we are going to found any viral infection or any bacterial infections. We are going to found in the throat swab, and also in case of blood culture and also lumbar puncture. So these are the diagnostic procedures. We can rule out what is the causative factor for the meningitis. So coming to the encephalitis. So also this also inflammation of the brain, nothing but is inflammation. So is usually viral. So most commonly affected with the viral, rare and easily missed in the early stages. So sometimes it may miss the, like if anybody symptoms, we may miss the symptoms, or maybe we can predict some other conditions. So who are having encephalitis, so they may chance to get the like a drowsy, confusion, vomiting, seizures, and also preceding flu-like illness. So they're going to like a flu-like symptoms they're going to get. There is no non-specific symptoms, is not exact the specific symptoms. So, and also they may chance to get the pyrexia. So increasing the body temperature, Glasgow Coma scale, the alter the consciousness. They may chance to get the confusion. Focal neurological signs are going to be happening, loss of motor function, loss of speech, loss of sensations. So unable to speak properly. So these symptoms are going to found in who are having encephalitis. And also neck stiffness, photophobia. Neck also stiffness because of the is inflammation, and also the photophobia is a very scared to the light because of the brightness is going to give the more headache. And also do an urgent CT scan and lumbar puncture, look for the signs of the infections. So if they do the CT scan and also lumbar puncture will give the clear information. And also this is going to be the very common problem in most of the people are going to face in a lifetime, at least 1 or 2 times these things. And this is called as the migraine. So this migraine is half of the head is going to get the symptoms. So it may recurrent and also severe. So depends upon the causative factor. So it may chance to get the repetitions or maybe chance to get the recurrent. Means if you get this time maybe after 1 month, or if you continue the same causative factor, so they may chance to get the migraine again. And also sometimes it's not bearable, it's a very severe pain. This is lasting for hours to few days. If anybody get, for example, if they're allergic to any particular seafood or maybe chocolate or maybe some other food product, so sometimes because of the food product, so it may chance to get the sudden like is going to give the pain, and it's going to be continuous and several hours to the several days also. So or maybe in case of the lack of sleep also may chance to get the headache. So these going to be associated symptoms are going to be photophobia. So they want to stay in the dark light room. So they don't want to come to the bright light. So that is a very common symptoms with the migraine. Nausea, vomiting, focal neurological symptoms, and also they may chance to get the flashing light, a zigzag, and visual loss. So they may chance to get the complications related to the these focal neurological symptoms. So they are unable to bear the light. So they want to be in the dark room. So and also typically intense thrombing unilateral causing the patient to ceases to normal activities in favor of the bed rest in a quiet. So they want to be stay in the darkened room. Always they want to be in the, because of if they come outside, there is going to be irritate and also they're going to get the severe pain again. So the triggers are especially is the cheese, chocolate, alcohol, oral contraceptive pills. So because of these products may chance to give the migraine, or sometimes may like any seafood also may chance to give the headache. Also, first attack aged is more than 40 is uncommon. So it's who are already having this problem. So above first time is going to be above 40 is uncommon, but most commonly in the age of 20s, many people are going to face this problem. So because of the work or because of the like a health status may chance to get. So here we have to consider MRI head is if new and also above 55 years. So in case of is above 55 years, if it is first time, so I have to advise the MRI scan and rule out the causative factor. And also next one is the tension headache. So this tension headaches is going to be will be the bilateral. The pain will be the bilateral, especially generalized or in the frontal region. So it's going to be maybe left side or right side, but generalized is going to be in case of the frontal area. So who are having stress, anxiety, or depression may chance to get the tension headache. So the duration will be the 30 minutes to 7 days until 1 week also may chance to get because of the tension. And also it will be the dull, tight, pressing in nature. The pain will be the dull pain, tight, and also pressing in nature. Worsen and also when stressed more. So if they get the stress more, again is going to be worse. And also nausea and photophobia are the is a usual like is going to be absent. So it is going to be absent in the case of the migraine. And also scalp muscles tenderness. So if you press somewhere, so they are going to feel the tenderness. Or it will be more in case of if they're having any tension or if they're having any stress. The patient continue with the normal activities. So they're going to get, but they're going to continue, but they're going to feel the headache. So if you see that these symptoms are going to looks like the same, there is a migraine characteristics as well as tension type of the headaches. So what are the differences going to be? So these headache attacks are lasting 4 to 72 hours for the migraine. So one side is going to be affected, but the tension headaches are they're going to be feel in the any side also, right or left or back also, but they're going to feel more in the frontal regions. So this also going to be the 3 minutes, 30 minutes to the 7 days. So this is going to be the only 72 days. So that means around the 3 days. So this is going to be the from the 30 minutes to the 1 week. So this migraine is going to be the unilateral, either right side or left side. But this one tension headache is going to be the both sides. Is a bilateral right side as well as left side also. And it's going to give the pulsating sensation. So if you feel here, you're going to feel the pulsation and also give the tenderness. And also this one also is going to the pressing or tightening the sensation around the head. So it's going to be like how the squeezing this takes place. So this is going to give the like a tension or because of the like any stress or anxiety. So may chance to get the heaviness and also tightness in the head. This is aggravated by the routine physical activity. So because if the routine physical activities may aggravated, but this one is going to be the mild or moderate pain intensity. So with this tension headache, they are going to do the functional activities, they are going to attend the office work. So everything they are going to do, but still they are going to feel the headache. So this one is going to be accompanied by the nausea and vomiting. So these are not aggravated or routinely physical activity, and no nausea and no vomiting. Here in the tension headache, no vomiting and nausea, but migraine will be they having the nausea and vomiting sensation. Light sensitivity, that is sensitivity to light and sound. If the sound or light comes, they are going to more irritate, may chance to get the severe pain. So this is the sensitivity to either light or sound. So either one is going to be get the sensitivity, they're going to be affected with the light as well as the sound. So these are the difference between the tension headache and also next about the migraine headache. So coming to the cluster headache. So this cluster headache, this is the rapid onset and also executing pain around the one eye, or maybe is the become the watery and bloodshot with the eyelid swelling and lacrimations. So if you see here any irritation around the eyes and orbit, so maybe because of the infection, the eyes become the swelling and also like itchy and is going to the redness, like a blood spot is how this is going to be. So it's going to be the swelling as well as the blood spot. Eyes becomes very red. So these are the cluster headaches are the facial flushing, rhinorrhea, meiosis, and also ptosis are going to be seen in the 20% of attacks. So meiosis means, and also ptosis means, is the meiosis, the pupil construction is going to be the short. And also ptosis means the deviation, the upper lid is going to be dropped and is going to be the unable to open the eyelid. So in case of the cranial involvement, and also in case of is also one of the complications if any having any neurological injury such as the Klumpke's palsy, if involvement of the cervical and also thoracic nerve root involvement may chance to get. And also restlessness and also agitations. So in case of stress or in case of restless in the vigorous activities, so may chance to get these clusters headache. The pain is strictly unilateral and also is going to be almost always affects the same side. So if it is one side, it's always some people are going to get the always at the same place. It is going to be the 15 minutes to 180 minutes until 3 hours, and also occurs once or twice a day is often is a nocturnal. So it's going to be on and off may chance to get, and also it may takes 4 days to the like a 12 weeks, 4 weeks to 12 weeks, and are followed by the faint free periods of the months, or even 1 to 2 years before the next cluster. So it's going to be like a cluster, like a group model. So there's going to be like if they happen, so it's going to continuously they may chance to get. It may give the break and also another cluster maybe after the one summer months or weeks may chance to get this one. And also occurs in the cluster lasting days to week and spared by months without symptoms. So in between they are going to get some 1 or 2 days, and after 1 month, 2 months they will get the relief again may chance to get. So it's going to be most commonly seen in the males, then the females, and common in the smokers. Who are the smokers, they may chance to get the cluster headache. Next one is the temporal arteritis. So that is nothing but is the large vessel is a vasculitis. Vasculitis means is the inflammation of the blood vessels. So also called as the giant cell arteritis. So its inflammation takes place, especially the large vessels. So associated symptoms are the polymyalgia and rheumatica. There is a proximal pain and also stiffness. So they are going to get the pain and also stiffness in the joints. So these are the common symptoms of the temporal arteritis. Most commonly seen in the women and also unusual in the patients less than 50 years. So this is commonly seen in the old age people. And also localized headache. So it maybe is the temporal region or maybe in the occipital region may chance to get. So if it press anywhere in the body, so and also in the head, so may chance to get the scalp tenderness, jaw claudication, and visual loss. So unable to do the movement or may chance to get the pain in the jaw as well as the tenderness in the scalp, and also sometimes may chance to get the visual loss. So the constitutional symptoms is going to be upset. There are going to be tiredness, malaise, weakness, sweating, pyrexia, and weight loss. So these are going to be associational symptoms along with the temporal arteritis. So abnormal temporal artery maybe is going to be inflamed, tender, and non-pulsatile and nodular. If you palpate here, supposed to be, if you're a normal person, if you place your fingers on the temporal region, we are going to hear the pulsations. So in case of inflammation of these arteries, so we are going to stop the pulsations. So absent of the pulse may occur, and also may chance to get the nodule formation. We can feel the nodule formations. So coming to in the blood test examinations, it's going to increasing the ESR, is erythrocyte segmentations, is a CRP and also clearance reactive protein, and also platelets, ALP with anemia. So these are the leukocytes are going to be increased, and also potential for the rapid onset of irreversible visual loss, and necessitates urgent treatment with the steroids. So these conditions, they need the emergency treatment. Treatment with the steroids is going to be reduce the inflammation and also swelling, control the complications. So temporal artery biopsy may confirm the diagnosis in the less than 1 week of starting therapy. So we have to do the ask them to check for the biopsy. If they do the biopsy test, so we are going to confirm it, is there any diagonal arthritis or not. So and also acute glaucoma is related to the eye infections and also eye problem. So the symptoms are going to be sudden severe pain and also red eye, and also the vision is going to be lost. So in these conditions, they may chance to get the severe headache. So this is the ophthalmological emergency. So who are got these problems, immediately they have to take the medications and treatment plan from the ophthalmologist. So sudden increasing in the intraocular pressure. So in the eyeballs and in the inside the eye, the pressure is going to be increased. So it's maybe because of the thrombus formation or maybe embolus formation, any artery inflammations. So anything also may cause to factor. So it's going to be the patient is long-sighted and also middle-aged, elderly, often occurs at this night. So and also conjunctivitis infections, clouding of the cornea. So it's going to get the infection of the conjunctiva as well as including the cornea. Cornea also going to be involved. So these are some types of the causative factor for the headache. So also this is the acute glaucoma, it's eye conditions. And also next one is the raised intracranial pressure. So this raised intracranial pressures, so according to our last discussion, this is maybe because of any CVA, cerebrovascular accident, any tumor, is a benign tumor or malignancy tumor, or any trauma, any infection, there is a pus formation, any cerebral edema in case of any post-hypoxia. Cerebral edema is accumulation of the fluid inside the brain, and also electrolyte imbalance, coagulopathies, idiopathic. Sometimes there is no causative factor. So and also suspected Glasgow-Coma scale and also focal neurological signs we are going to found. And also new onset of the seizures, may chance to get the seizures, that is the fits or convulsions. And also it may chance to get the Cushing reflex, that is the increase the heart rate and also blood pressure, who are having the intracranial pressures. Tend to be worse in the morning on the lying flat and coughing and straining. So who are having a supine lying positions, or if they cough or also straining, so the pressure is going to be increased because the intracranial pressure is going to be increased. If they're coughing, automatically, physiologically, intracranial pressure is going to be increased. First, it is increasing the intra-abdominal pressure as well as intrathoracic pressure is going to increasing the intracranial pressure too. Associated symptoms are without nausea and papilloma. So this intracranial pressures, so they are not going to the vomiting without nausea. So vomiting they will get, and also they won't get in the nausea. And also papilloedema, the swelling of the eye surrounding the eyeball, so may chance to get. That is the indication of the raised intracranial pressures. So coming to the CT brain diagnostics, so we have to send to the CT brain, so we have to rule out the causative factors. So in case of the HIV patients, may chance to get the intracranial pressures. So these are the causative factors and also about the intracranial pressures. And also another causative factors are the sinusitis. So these sinusitis are going to be maybe inflammation because of the infection and also inflammation. So it's because of the bacteria or virus or fungus or anything may cause 2 factor for the sinusitis. So who are having sinusitis, so may chance to get is because of the infection the sinus areas are going to be inflamed, swelling. So because of this swelling, it may increasing the pressure, so it may chance to get the headache. So these sinuses are, if you see here, the frontal sinus, maxillary sinus, ethmoidal sinus, and sphenoidal sinus. So these four areas are going to be is inflamed. So because of the inflammation, the pressure is increased, so we'll get the headache. So the pain will be dull, throbbing, and also it may be focal pain or over the sinuses. So if you press anywhere in the frontal region and also ethmoidal and maxillary region, so they are going to get the pain and tenderness. And also ethmoidal sphenoidal sinus, pain is felt deep in the midline of the root of the nose. So if you press in the inside the root here, the nose area, so we are going to get the pain in the ethmoidal and the sphenoidal level. Temperature may be normal and also maybe invariable associated symptoms. The nasal symptoms looks like at least two of them. So they may chance to get the nasal blockage or congestion, and also rhinorrhea, any discharge, anything discharged from the nose. Is it the watery or CSF or blood? Also depends upon the causative factor. So for them, may chance to get the loss of smell. Smell also they are going to lose. The facial pressure, tenderness, feel. So if you touch, they are going to get the severe tenderness. So it will be more than 8 weeks. So required if the sinusitis is more than the 8 weeks, they need for the CT scan to confirm the exact diagnosis. So that is about the sinusitis. So it's also one of the major causative factors for the headaches. So analgesic headaches. So these are going to be associated with some analgesic medications, which are the opioids. So it's going to control the pain. So because of this, the headaches, medication also may chance to get the headache. So these headaches are going to be bilateral, is either right side and left side. This occur prior to the next dose of analgesia. So before the headache, they may chance before the medications, they may chance to get the headache. So these are the another type of the headache because of the analgesics. And also next one is a hypertensive crisis. Hypertensive crisis, so usually represents to a response to the pain of the headache and response to the treatment of the headache. So in this one is going to be the BP is more than 100, 200 is a stroke 120. Systolic will be the more than 200, diastolic will be the 120. So these are one of the cost factor. In these conditions, so the intracranial pressure also may increase, or also sometimes may chance to get the high blood pressure, increase the pressure, or may chance to get the stroke because of the high blood pressure. So this is the hypertensive crisis. So if it is not controllable, this much of blood pressure, it may chance to give the hemorrhage in the brain and also may chance to get the stroke, the brain stroke. Coming to the another one is intracranial hypotension. So intracranial hypotension, so it means it's going to be the CSF leakage. So the CSF leakage, especially in the choroid plexus and also ventricular system, if any leakage in the CSF in the ventricular system, so it may gives the a hypotension. So examples are iatrogenic after the lumbar puncture or epidural anesthesia. So for example, after the lumbar puncture, so they're going to insert the needle in between the L3, L4 vertebra in the backside here. So if they take out the CSF for the analysis purpose to diagnose the conditions, so if in these conditions, if it is not controllable of the CSF leak, so sometimes may chance to get the is a hypotonia, sorry, like a hypotension, intracranial hypotension. So because of the decrease the volume of the CSF, so may leads to the hypotension. And also suspect if the headache worse understanding. So this is going to be associated within the is going to be usually present within the 4 to 5 days of the procedures. So this normally after the 4 to 5 days, the person complain the severe pain, headache, as well as if the pain worsening in the standing, so may chance to get the hypertension. So that is because of the intracranial hypertension. If the standing, so because of the against gravity, so the blood cannot pump, and also they may chance to get the may lose the CSF, so it may leads to increasing the hypotension levels. So that is also one of the major causative factor for the headache. So other causative factors are the trauma. So this trauma is the extradural hemorrhage, subdural hemorrhage, and also contusions. So in case of any head injury, any motor vehicle accidents, so in those conditions, if they hit with any hard object, any sharp object, So in the extradural hemorrhage, extradural means outside the dura. So if you see the skull, below the skull, so next layer is going to be the dura mater. So between the skull and also dura mater is called as the extradural matter. So extra means outside the dura mater. So below the dura is going to be the next one is the arachnoid matter. So below the arachnoid matter is going to be pia mater. So then only the brain structure is there. So the brain has like three covering layers. The first innermost covering layer is called as pia mater. Then the next layer will be in the arachnoid matter. The another layer, outer layer is called as the dura mater. So the CSF is going to be always circulating between the pia mater and also arachnoid maters. So which is called as subarachnoid space. So the CSF is going to circulate throughout the subarachnoid space. So if any injury or any trauma, this pressure also going to be increased. So it shows the like a intracerebral hemorrhage. It shows the intracranial hemorrhage, and also pressure is going to be increased. And also it's going to be commonly causes localized pain, but can be more generalized. So it's in case of the hemorrhage or subdural hemorrhage or contusions because of any head trauma or hematoma. So it may give the contusion also. So it lasts is 2 weeks, often resistance to the is analgesia. So the pain may be is more than like until the 2 weeks, but it's going to be sometimes resistance to the analgesia. They take medication also, sometimes it won't recover, it won't get the improvement. As a do the CT should exclude the subdural or extradural hemorrhage. So if we do the take the like a CT scan, we can rule out the bleeding in the subdural level or in the extradural levels. So if it drowsiness, so lucid intervals are the focal signs. So we have to know what are the other focal neurological signs. So in case of if anybody having the drowsiness, we have to check the CT scan so we can rule out any other focal focal signs. So coming to the trigeminal neuralgia. So this trigeminal neuralgia, trigeminal nerve is nothing but is the fifth cranial nerve. So this fifth cranial nerve is going to be get infected or maybe inflammation. It may chance to give the swelling of this trigeminal nerve, which is supplies to the face. So it's going to be get the inflammation. It's going to give the severe pain. So because of the severe pain in the face, and may chance to get the headache in the frontal region and also in the sideways may chance to get. So he's going to get the intense shooting pain, stabbing, electric like shock pain, like the pain in the second and third divisions of the trigeminal nerve. So they're going to get the second and third divisions. If you see that this is going to be divided into the is a face, so it supplies to the facial like a sensory. So this sensation is going to be altered, and also they're going to get the hypersensitivity and severe pain. Next one is going to be is a paroxysmosis of intense stabbing pain lasting seconds. So it's within the fraction of seconds is going to start the pain. The face screws up with the pain that is the hence is the so this is called as the tic dolorix. So who are having this trigeminal neuralgia, so also called as the tic dolorix. So it's going to give the severe sharp like pain in the face, and is mainly especially is going to affect the one side is going to be more affected. So it's going to be typically more than 50 years of old age, and also especially in the Asians, commonly seen in the females than the males. And so secondary causes are the compression of the trigeminal neuron. So by the analemous or also any aneurysmal intracranial vessels. So if any abnormality in the like a brainstem, so this is a trigeminal nerve which is originating from the brainstem. So if any like a damage or any aneurysm inside the brainstem or any tumors, any meningeal inflammations or multiple sclerosis, or in case of zoster and the herpes zoster, or in case of the infections, so they may chance to get this trigeminal neuralgia. So these are going to be the causative factors, and for them they need the MRI scan if necessary to exclude the secondary causes. So in case of like a if we could not find these symptoms in the like a complete blood picture, and also in case of like a lumbar punctures, so we have to do the MRI scan to rule out what is the causative factor for the headache. So if you see the trigeminal neuralgia, trigeminal nerve, so it is going to having the three branches: ophthalmic branch, maxillary branch, and mandibular branch. So it's going to be like all these branches. It's going to be the ophthalmic branch, and also maxillary branch, and also is going to be the mandibular branch. So if we hold like three fingers, so it's like this. So it's going to be supplies to the three areas. So next one is the exertional headache. So these exertional headaches will be the sudden onset, bilateral, and also explosive pain. So it's going to be sudden onset, they're going to get the pain, and also going to be the bilateral, both sides, left side, the right side, and also the front, and also back side also going to be affected. And also in case going to be is a typical an exercise or any orgasm. So in case of orgasm or maybe it's exercise. So during the intense exercise or maybe in the sexual pleasure. So these type and also may chance to get the exertional headaches. So in this one, so this may mimics like a migraine or subarachnoid hemorrhage, but meningioma is going to be absent. So we have to differentiate if it's related to the like a focal disturbances. So we have to check, are they having any meningeal symptom? Meningium symptoms means the major symptoms are the neck stiffness, Kerning sign, and also Bruggen sign. Kerning sign means patient should be in supine lying, hip should be flexion to 90 degrees, then knee should be 90 degrees. From the 90 degrees, if knee extended, so they are going to get the severe pain in the below the knee region as well as the hamstring levels. So that is the Kerning sign. And also in the Bruggen sign, so we have to do the like a supine lying positions. If we do the extension positions, so opposite legs also going to be in the flexion positions. So these are some special tests to identify the meningium symptoms. So these are going to be absent in case of the exertional headaches. So maybe if they do any like a vigorous exercise, if suddenly changing the positions or maybe like a head rotation and also the inverted positions, sometimes the head down, legs up. So in that type of exercise, or maybe the strong sexual pleasure also in those conditions also may chance to get. So these are the some causative factors for the exertional headaches. In those conditions, we have to consider CT scan, lumbar puncture to rule out the any subarachnoid hemorrhage. So if there is no subarachnoid hemorrhage, maybe the causative factors are the exercise and also sexual pleasures. So that is the differential diagnosis for the subarachnoid hemorrhage as well as the exertional headache. So coming to the drug-induced headache. So sometimes some drugs are so going to give this short type of headaches. So these are going to be nitrates, calcium channel blockers, metronidazole with the alcohol, and also recreational drugs and also solvents. So for example, nitrates, if related to the like a heart functions. So if any alterations in the like a nitrates or any dosage, so they may chance to get the headache. Calcium channel blockers. So calcium channel blockers also are going to use in controlling the high blood pressures. So if any alteration or any dosage in the like these calcium channel blockers also is may chance to give the headache. So and also zoles, that is a metronozoles with the alcohol. So if anybody take any medications along with the alcohol, if they take the alcohol, so they may chance to get the headaches. So especially that is the metronozoles. So these zoles like is an antibiotic to control the infections. So it may affects with the alcohol, it may give the headaches. So that is due to is the drug-induced headache. Any recreational drugs, that is a solvents, if related to these drugs also may interaction with the like a drugs, so it may chance to get the headaches. And also other types of the headaches are going to be so many other types. So other causative factors, carbon monoxide poisoning. If the carbon monoxide levels are increasing, so they may chance to get the severe headache. So oxygen percentage is going to be decreased, or if your carbon dioxide levels are going to be increased, in those conditions may chance to get the headache. And also in case of the hypercapnia, so increasing the carbon dioxide high levels, if the oxygen concentration is low, so if in carbon dioxide levels are high, so may chance to get the headaches. And also post-coital is headaches. So in this surgical procedure or maybe in the during the any insertional activities also is a may chance to get the headaches. And also dehydration, this is also very, very important because of the electrolyte imbalance. So may chance to give the headaches. So especially the sodium, chloride, and potassium. So and also minerals, if any abnormality because of the diarrhea or because of the any less intake of the water content or may chance to give the dehydration, it may lead to the headache. And also in case of hypoglycemia, if the blood sugar levels are very low in the blood, so may chance to get the headache. So that is the reason who are already taking the any insulin injection for the like a diabetes to control the blood sugar levels. If the glycemic or if the insulin levels are less because of the, if they take the insulin level externally. So if because of the dose is altered, if the dose is higher, so immediately the blood glucose levels are going to be decreased. So if because of the decreased blood glucose levels also, so may chance to get the headache. So only thing is that in those conditions, if you give small piece of the sweet or maybe sugar percentage, so they are automatically will get the sugar levels are going to be increase the blood, so we can control the these symptoms. So that is the hypoglycemia. Is a hyponatremia. Hyponatremia means if anybody like a drowning, if they like a because of the unable to swim, maybe if they fall in a swimming pool or if they're in the well or maybe in the river. So if they take more water content, so what happened if the excessive water content intake, so may chance to get the this imbalance of the electrolytes, such as the sodium levels are going to be diluted. If there is no sodium, so what happened? The sodium levels are going to be dissolved in the water as well as it's excreted to the system. So in those conditions, because of the less salt in our blood and also is less salt in our tissues, so it may give the hyponatremia, so decreasing the sodium levels. And also in case of the eye disorders, ear disorders, and also in case of eyes and ears also, so this is going to be radiating to the head and also ear also because of the connection to the brain. So it may interfere and also it may use the radiating pain in case of the eye disorders and also ear disorders. And coming to the sepsis, so because of the any infections and also tropical illness in case of malaria and also typhus, so these infections also may chance to give the headaches. So these are some causative factors for the headaches. And also these things we have to discuss and we have to know clearly, then only we can diagnose, we can differentially diagnose the headaches. We can understand what is the causative factor and also what are the times associated symptoms. So we can rule out easily. And also all sudden onset of and severe headache should ideally be discussed with the neurologist. So if anybody having sudden onset of the like a headache, as well as if any associated with the like a vision loss or maybe vomiting sensation and giddiness, so these are going to be the focal disturbances immediately. So who are having the severe headache and all these associated symptoms, they have to meet the neurologist and also have to evaluate exactly. And also headaches that recur and also tend to be benign and maybe is a migraine and also tension headaches and also trigeminal neuralgia. So sometimes may chance to get this type of migraine and tension headaches may chance to reoccur. So again, if the recovery also may chance to get. And also chronic progress headaches can indicate the increased as the intracranial pressures. So chronic is going to progressive day by day is going to increasing the pressure. So it indicating the intracranial pressure is increased. Maybe intracranial pressure because of the any like a any tumor or maybe any space occupying lesions. Because of the space occupying lesions, they may chance to get the increase the pressures. And also consider is a benign intracranial hypertension in patients with the features of increased intracranial pressure, but no mass on the neuroimaging. So who are having the intracranial hypertensions, so may also gives the intracranial pressure. But if you see the X-ray, if you see the CT scan and MRI scan and PET scan, it won't give you any imaging of the tumor and extra growth in the tissues. So ask about the stress or recent life events may not explain the pathology, but will help you is appreciate the context which symptoms are. So sometimes we cannot rule out, and sometimes we have to get the full information from the patients. So then only we can take the complete assessment and also we can evaluate easily. So according to the symptoms. So that is the important thing to rule out. And also what are the red flags? So in case of when we have to should be faster to respond. So in case of the new onset of headache, changes in the headaches. So it's a sudden onset of the pain in the very newly, and also changes the headache in patients over the 50 years. If anybody get the 50 years, if any changes in the headaches, so we have to think and we have to do it for the emergency, for the investigation procedures. So the persistent visual disturbances, focal central nervous system signs, ataxia, new cognitive or behavioral disturbances. So focal disturbances, so the motor and sensory, language and speech, and also all the higher mental functions, including the ataxia, walking pattern is unsteadiness. So any behavioral problem, any cognitive problems. So these are the serious indications. So in those conditions, we have to respond as soon as possible and rule out the diagnosis. Headache that changes with the posture or weak the patient up. So sometimes may chance to get the position according to positions. They're normal in the supine lying positions. If they get up from the supine lying position to sitting positions suddenly, so they may chance to get the headache. So it may be because of the orthostatic hypotension. So it may be because of the orthostatic hypotension may chance to get the headache. Headache brought by the physical exertions. So if you do any strong vigorous activities also may chance to get the headache. And also sometimes in case of the papilledema, so if any like headache along with associated with the papilledema swelling around the orbit and also eyeball, and also new onset of the headache in patient with known HIV or active malignancy. So we have to check in case of the HIV patients and active malignancy. So we have to rule out and also we have to alert first. Then only we have to take the proper investigation methods as well as the treatments in the with the supervision of the neurologist. And also arrange a CT scan or MRI brain, and also if any normal, seek input from the neurologist. So if it is these investigative positions are normal, so we have to consult again the neurologist and ask them to rule out. So they're going to assess thoroughly from the system to system and also all the brain structures. They're going to rule out the where is the causative factors. So that's all about the today's topic about the headaches. What are the different types of the headache? How the symptoms are going to be associated with the headaches. Hope you understand about the headache and its symptoms and its associated symptoms and what could be the conclusion in the diagnosis. So if you understand about the different types of the headache, what is the location of the headache, so we can easily predict the what type of the headache, so we can easily conclude it. So that's all about the headaches topic. Hope you understand clearly. If you have any doubts, you can send me message. I can clarify your doubt. Thank you very much. See you in the next class.